Hey everybody, Pip from Premier Team Building here. Thanks for tuning in to another one of our leadership videos. If you haven't already, please make sure you like and subscribe down below. Hit the little bell icon so you can be kept up to date with every time we put a new video up. We're always here to help develop you and your team to make sure you're seeing the results you need to grow your business. Now, in today's video, I want to talk about something a little bit different. This is a topic that we ourselves are often faced with every time we approach a new potential client, and especially some of our larger clients. A lot of the time, some businesses don't see the value in developing their team. A lot of people find it hard to associate what we do to an actual dollar figure that's going to relate to the business themselves. Now, we do results programs, so we've got a few different programs that we relate directly to measurable results. But when it comes to team building in general, what is the value in it to the company? Sure, there's the expense of operating the event and taking people away from the day of the office, half day, or for the conference, whatever it might be. But what does it mean if you were to not do that kind of activity? Some recent studies find that the average cost of simply hiring a person, that is, posting a job, recognizing you have a vacant position, receiving resumes, reviewing resumes, or organizing interviews, selecting your candidate, just the act of doing that alone can run businesses on average $5,000 per person. However, talking to other businesses and other studies, they've also found that the impact of the downtime of losing somebody, the interim of when they're bringing somebody new on board itself, to the hiring, training, to the point where they get that person up to the level they need to be operating at its total efficiency, that can be upwards of $20,000 to $60,000 per person. So when it comes to reviewing whether or not there's a value in team building, you should be really looking at your staff turnover. And that's what it really comes down to. Team building itself, when we focus on reducing staff turnover, look at morale, improving customer service, and all these factors, the goal is to reduce the amount of time your HR team is having to post jobs, review applicants, the downtime when other people are having to carry other people's slack. Because no matter what, when you have somebody leave, there is a void within the workplace. You can't say, I'll just share the workload to everybody else and expect the same results. If your team is operating already at their max capacity, whether it be their best capacity, but if that's the best they can do, by giving them more work, you're only going to water down their performance in other areas. So when we discuss with a lot of CFOs and businesses who are very focused on the dollar and what that would impact the business, we see a lot when it comes to businesses downsizing or reducing costs. Some of the first things that they cut is marketing and staff development. Well, marketing brings people to the business to get them to spend things and employs more people. But when it comes to the staff development, if you cut those funds, all of a sudden your staff morale is going to drop. You're going to have a higher staff turnover. And if people aren't operating at their best or as a team at their best, everything else is going to be impacted from that. If you're a manufacturing company, if your team is not operating effectively, your manufacturing time is going to take longer, quality could be down. If you're in a face-to-face customer service business, if your team is not happy or they're understaffed, that pressure and that level of discontent is going to be viewed by the customers, in turn cutting into your bottom line once again. We see these movies all the time, these sport movies, these war movies, where we talk about this point where we have to rally together to overcome a challenge. And that's what team building can do, and that's where the money, the financial bottom dollar lines really come into it, is if you can acknowledge that things are tough right now and say that to your team. Say, we're going to have to make some hard decisions. However, we need you to do your very best to make sure that we can continue to grow and be successful and get through these dark times. You don't do that by cutting every form of development as individuals or teams. You don't do that by stopping those weekly or monthly coffee catch-ups or after-work drinks because there's zero money being brought into the company. Every person is between $20,000 to $60,000 of liability if they were to leave your company. You need to retain staff. You don't want to continue to have to rehire people. So when it comes to those dark times, those lean times, we strongly advise you find ways to unite and rally your team. If you're struggling with some ideas, go look at some amazing sport movies or war movies where they have to overcome a challenge. There's that moment where someone says, I know things are tough, but if we do this together, if we support one another, we can get through that. But in business, far too often we find companies are not doing that. And that's how you lose your team. That's how you really lose the customer in the end as well. If your team is not delivering great customer service because their morale is low, because they don't feel valued, because they're not being developed, the customer is going to experience that and the customer is not going to come back. You need your people to run your business, be it a small business or a large business. If your team is no longer there with you, where are you going to be? How are you going to accomplish these tasks? So if you're wondering where the financial value of team building is and where those dollars actually line up, we want you to take a moment, look at your staff turnover. How many people have you lost this past 12 months? Play with the small end of the spectrum, say $20,000 of lost revenue, lost time per person. Then how many people have you hired within those 12 months? Every person is at least $5,000 on average, just for the time and effort it takes for the company. Now, we have some programs that for $5,000, you can have 40 people come together, for example, to do an event to bring them together as a community. So why would you willingly throw money away at rehiring, training new people, all those other people who have to step away from what they really need to be doing to focus on this new person? Where if you can take some time and develop who you have already, that $5,000 you might pay for some team building or however much it might be in the end, that's what you're saving yourself in turnover. If you're serious about seeing results in your business and serious about developing your team, we recommend doing team building at least twice a year, be with us or somebody else, but monitor your staff retention. You can look at a lot of big companies, and it's easy to Google who does team buildings and some amazing examples of what companies do to boost their morale. Then you can find out what kind of staff turnover rates they have. A lot of the times where people feel valued and respected by the company, the staff turnover is much lower, meaning all those expenses they spend on their staff is saving them so much more money. You have to start looking between the lines when it comes to your spreadsheets and your accounting to see where are we wasting, where are we spending money, because a lot of times people can't actually see the negative aspect, the costs associated with training, hiring, all those hours spent, versus it's easy to see a team building activity cost X amount. Well, I don't have X amount. Well, actually, you've already spent that 12 times over by hiring all these people year in, year out. If you're serious about developing your business and want to have great customer service, retain staff, and be known for leaders in your industry, please seek out your local team building provider. Find somebody who does results to make sure that you are getting the very best out of your team. I strongly recommend take a moment of time, review your books, just looking at how many people you've hired or lost within the past 12 months. If you're a long-standing company, look at it multiple years. See if there are any trends where you've done team activities and the turnover's low versus where you have it and team turnover is much high. Have a look and you'll be able to find some actual measurable data that will be able to help you associate the benefits on developing your team and the benefits of not developing your team. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, but we had a stellar year, we had lots more sales, so we did more for the team. But did the team perform better after those, or did the team perform worse after these events? If you have a great stellar year because of the service you're delivering, the product you're delivering, if your team is motivated, they're going to continue to do more for you. They're not going to do less. They're going to say, well, we've hit the top. That's it. We're done. Wash our... No, they're going to continue because they feel valued by the company and they're going to feel part of it as well. Have a look at your numbers and you might be surprised to see how much you're wasting and how much you could be saving by seeking out some outside help to develop your workplace culture. If you have any questions, please, our details are in the description. Make sure you like and subscribe. Send this video to an employer or a friend who you know is wasting a lot of money on constantly rehiring people, because we want to help you and your team develop. We're always here to chat. Please reach out. I hope you have a fantastic day. And whatever you're doing, best of luck. You're going to be successful.